I want to start today's video with a short story about a business owner named Bob. His name was actually Bob. He was not one of my clients. I first heard about Bob when I had worked at an executive benefit planning firm. My role was to design high cash value life insurance policies for corporations that were interested in policies typically on their executives, but the cash value was an asset on their balance sheet. Now, Bob was the owner of a company we were working with. It specifically was a construction company. And what was interesting is that Bob had several whole life insurance policies. He had about 7 policies, some of which that he had owned for about 30 years. So coming into that meeting, I had not met with him, but coming into the firm and meeting with the owner of that firm, when they were discussing whole life insurance products for the company, he knew what he was getting into because of his own personal experience. Now, again, he has 7 policies, some of which are about 30 years old. They're moving at this point in time. What was interesting about Bob, he was in his 60s, if I recall correctly, and he made a statement about his whole life insurance policies. Simply put, he said, aside from the interest I have in my company, I look at all of my other investments. He had a moderate net worth. I look at everything else. My best performing assets are my whole life insurance policies. He was very happy with them. And the reason why, what he had mentioned, is because if I take one of my policies, I make a $12,000 payment, and I see that the total cash value growth that year is about $36,000 or close to $40,000. So to break that down, if the growth was $40,000, $12,000 of that was his payment. He was including his payment. But what is the rest then? So you get $40K in growth, subtract $12,000. That means you received $28,000 in dividends and interest from the insurance company. Now, I did have the opportunity to look at the policies and see what the actual growth rate was, because if someone says to me what I just said, I paid in $12,000, I had a gain of $28,000 that year, my follow-up question would be, well, how much was in cash value earning interest before you made your payment? The net growth rate on his policies ranged between 3 and 5%, depending on when they started and such. Again, he had 7 policies in total when we had looked at all of the accounts and such. So he's got his whole life insurance policies. He's very happy with them. And that's what ultimately led to his decision in supporting the company taking out policies for his executives. Now, when you hear this, if you say, okay, that's interesting that a whole life insurance policy actually produced that for an individual, because these are real policies. We get to see some of them at least about 30 years old. Why? Why would he still put money in here? Well, the reason why, or I should say how he viewed them, was this. He was not one who was actively accessing the cash value and using it for opportunities and such. He viewed it as a fixed asset, almost as a bond alternative. Here was a peace of mind product that he could position money regardless of what happened in the economy. 7 policies. How old were some of them? Some of them were about 30 years old. If you look back over the past 30 years and look at the economy and also the stock market, what happened? It's improved in value over time, but has it just been a straight line up all the time? No. We wish. What's happened is this. When this happens, typically where are people's emotions with respect to real estate they own and other investments? We all know how we should act. We all state that we should act in a certain way, hold on to the investments through the down times, hold on to the real estate. That's all well and good, but typically how do people act from an emotional standpoint? We panic. What am I going to do? It causes a lot of stress for a lot of people. So why he was satisfied with the whole life insurance policies is, again, because it was that fixed asset class. I like to refer to it as a peace of mind product because he did not have to worry about it. While everything else is moving up and down, his whole life insurance policies are doing what? just gradually increasing over time. And when working with individuals, when our company works with individuals, what they typically like is this, the fact that it's safe. The tax benefits are also appealing. But then in addition to that, you've got the liquidity, specifically the loan feature, where I can use it as a personal line of credit. Meaning when I borrow against my cash value, my entire cash value continues to compound. What that means is if you have $100,000 in cash value, you elect to borrow $50,000 against your policy, you will continue to earn dividends and interest on the full $100,000. We've got other videos with illustrations and visuals that demonstrate that. But that's an added benefit that he did not even leverage. He just put money in there, let it sit and grow because he was in a position to do that. Now, with all of that said, he did mention what? At his company, he's a business owner, that was his number one asset. He liked his whole life insurance policies, but what was that first statement he made? With the exception of the interest in my company. So his company was the main contributor to his net worth. That's what built up his assets. However, when he decided to do something with that money, he was diversified, but overall, he was satisfied with his whole life insurance policies. Now, the advantage here, they were 30 years old. I don't care what type of whole life insurance policy you look at, over 30 years, it's going to be moving at a nice pace. If it's designed properly, it can really be cash rich out of the gates, and you can experience the benefits earlier. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like any specific case studies, you can check out any videos on our channel. And as always, I hope this helps. Thanks so much. Hey guys, Steve here with IBC Global. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you're interested in a whole life insurance policy and you'd like to work with our company in setting it up, please visit our website, ibcglobalinc.com. We would love to work with you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And as always, I hope this helps.